In my own view, this was like the dead zone. There was nothing happening, no one would ever sit here, and it was like I always kind of looked at it from far away and I would be like, these are some pretty sad, this is a pretty sad area with nothing much.
What is your name?
Ophélie.
I'm Manuela. I'm Anamon. I think it has really come to life. I mean, I think it's also definitely I'm a bit biased because now there's so much green and there's so much life because of the summer.
I think I kind of always saw it as an empty space, and I saw that it had potential, but it wasn't really used. But I think like this project made me realize the potential, and I think it's really nice to actually see how it's been growing into more of a hanging out community space. Especially now we have the hammock and the steps and the plants. I think it looks really nice, and I think now it's becoming more cozy.
Another day I was just in the AB like watching, and then there was just like 3 people sitting by the ponds just chilling there, and it's nice to see that it's actually a place that we kind of really started this, and now it's gonna have an impact on the whole community, I guess.
It's tough to be a student there. There's a lot of family, personal, societal expectations on students. They experience a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. They spend just unhealthy amounts of time behind laptops, like a lot of us, and, which is just simply not good for body, mind, and spirit. It's just really clear, right?
I think biking.
Okay.
I love biking, and because there's constant movement and you constantly go forward, and it's just really fun. It's really fun, and then also sometimes, I don't know, the other day I was biking in the rain, and there was this like solidarity with other bikers in a weird way, because it was like no one could see anything, and then like we would give each other looks, and it was super cute and wholesome.
Cooking, touch, music, going for a walk. Brilliant.
Anything to add?
Dancing, making music.
I agree. And I'm gonna add to the music part because I love swing dancing and I love experimenting with like following and leading and how that changes like my emotions, like how I feel myself.
Now we're gonna move to the next session. So we're gonna do something with our hands. And the next session is connected with the noticing nature assignment. It's an hotspot where you disconnect from the stress and for the over-presence of digital means in your life, and you reconnect with nature, the others, and yourself. Building spaces with a meaning and spaces that are participated is one of the missions of the T-Factor project, which is the context in which the wild spot was developed. T-Factor is a European-funded project.
You can feel stuff and you can also be visual. So it's really kind of to bring up new ideas and open up your mind in a way. So don't feel you need to make something nice or pretty. That's completely not the idea.
And come here in the center of the classroom.
Actually get more sunlight. True.
Yeah, they're like, we must find a way to like make it possible to have more, like to have this entire area like become covered in moss. So I don't know if that like involves like drilling holes in tiles or something. I don't know.
I don't really think so. Look, because here the moss is basically already covering the entirety of it. And then you can take your shoes off while you're hanging out on the hammock and just feel the ground with your feet, which I think is always a really nice kind of way to reset and connect with the earth. So I think there's a lot of potential. Also, like, I don't know, people have made bookcases out of old trees, for example, so I think it could also be cool to have like a book swap area here.
Ah, nice.
So that if you want to just, or like a notebook where you can just kind of come and draw something or write something anonymously and share how you feel in that very moment, and just kind of have a moment for yourself to, wind down and just reconnect, I think.
That we had about this place, I think, was that it has a underused tree and it has a really nice location compared to anywhere else in this space. We weren't sure exactly what we were going to do with it, but those were the two aspects at least.
But we decided that it might be nice to have a place that's dedicated only to spending time alone and reconnecting with yourself and being grounded. So we're thinking about putting a bench or a sort of seating pad here, and it has a nice view. We created like an angle so that we don't have the view on the parking lot, but rather on the trees over there and the grass and the pond. So this is why we chose this little plot of land.
We have common rooms in the dorms where we're living, but they're not really used. And also, I think the cafeteria downstairs, it can be a bit empty. So I feel like we don't have, even though we are kind of a community, we don't have that many community spaces, I think, or community spaces that are actually being used that much. Except for the spot where people sit outside in front of the water. And I think this kind of offers a space where AUC people can really collect, because usually I see people going out by themselves, but I think this could maybe also be nice together for people, also because it's right next to the AB.
There's this kind of sense of shame that people hold at first, and they're kind of scared to engage with something and to be creative with it. And then as soon as you actually create an atmosphere that allows for creativity, people end up doing so much and feeling so involved and feeling like they can truly contribute something meaningful, when at first they were scared that maybe they didn't have enough creative intuition or all of these things, and then they end up really engaging with it. And so this, I think, was visible not only in our classes themselves, where we all ended up, like, from the beginning till the end, you could just see this transition where everyone felt at ease and was pitching in with new ideas, etc.
Right from the beginning, when we started doing the noticing exercises of taking pictures, I think already from that, I think I started to learn to maybe notice things more around me. I think it really started from that, and really even focusing on this place that everyone has so close but never really looks at. I think after this project I'll just be a lot more aware of my surroundings and kind of the possibilities of nature that are always around me, I guess.
When we had the day of with different activities here at the pond, so many people arrived, and at first were kind of scared to share, but as soon as they themselves kind of appropriated the space or just became more comfortable in it, they came up with ideas too. So there's this whole thing of feeling how people need to feel like they can really contribute and they have a spot, and they get to that feeling once you give them kind of an interaction or an activity or something to something to do, some sort of basic function at first, and then they expand themselves from there on.
So we're making info about
and then there's this grand opening on the 21st of June, but then the festival will quiet down a bit. So over summer we are not here, but the installation is here. So people can still visit, and you can design something that maybe explains or introduces or invites people to still do something.
The idea is to have sort of this whole area covered with wooden planks.
We want to put moss all over the ground area.
These would be it'd be like a hammock made of hemp, the plant, because it's really sturdy, and we can weave it, and using maybe carabiners or something, hang it from the two trees, and we measured it's about 4.5-ish meters, and then we'd sort of have it be a place that you can maybe hang some bird feeders up there so birds can sort of come, and then you're noticing, so it's a solitary moment, and you can feel the nature around you, but also have the sounds of the birds if they're feeding, or you can have just the wind that's sort of directing you instead of you having to do anything about it.
And just like we discussed in class, we want to actually create a communitas feeling which occurs spontaneously, and in order to achieve that we decided, okay, we gotta give people more space literally just to interact with them. We can turn the steps into benches, wooden benches, and we can put more moss here so that people can actually sit around. And we also thought about putting picnic tables over that to utilize that area as well. We were thinking of a curved vertical garden, which would the main material would be Euro pallets, because they are quite accessible and popular, and they're also quite easy to transform into little
all the three main walking routes, we would argue, we'll have these arrows on the floor, and then what you will see, there's a 3 components division. First is a question, so for example, are you tired? Do you need to unplug? Are you lethargic? Anything of the sort? Do you want to be in nature? Question mark, and then like the logo of the wild spot, because we thought for some type of identification. Near the gate, we will have a map kind of highlighting what is going on in this place. Like what are the things that we will have done by then, because we don't really know, but it will be like a map, like, you know, one of those maps, like when you're on a hike, one of those maps.
So I came into nature and forest bathing as a discipline under the attention angle. So nature has a strong attention restoration effect, as Yolanda was saying. And there were 3 main ambitions from this project. So one was to build an attention ecology, so to train attention in a way that, in an ecological way, so also to look at others, to be able to look at the planet, to be able to look at what's going on around us, to provide an interruption of this ever-present smart city, and to create occasions to be present and to be together.
My name is Daniela, and this is
Anthropologies.
and we're going to present ourselves a little bit to you. We're AUC students.
Drawing with chalk, and we realized that it's a great moment for people to experience some childhood nostalgia, and also bond over that. And lastly, we were doing yoga breaks.
You can see ducklings. We have a lot of ducklings now at AUC, and they started actually pretty much playing around with the installations and enjoying them, which was very, very interesting and unexpected, I think. Here you can see we also have a harvest of like basil, thyme, you know, things you usually cook for pasta when you're a student. And people really engaged with it and said like it was incredible that they were using it in August, that they are using it for the recipes.
And yeah, my other experience was of the wild spot is from the perspective of a user of the space, because I'm also taking a class next to volunteering here. And yeah, usually I would just go home after class and continue with my assignments and being stressed or whatever. And yeah, this time I had the opportunity to go for a picnic or do a yoga break. And yeah, it was a great experience just to be outside, move, socialize, get some fresh air, and really brought back my energy. And yeah, that's also something I want other people to experience at the wild spot.